Okay, so one of the things that we're world renowned for, and I'm going to have Chris pan down today. We always hook our, and we're world renowned for it, is our dust extractors. This is the new HEPA certified auto clean, CT48 auto clean. Okay, I've turned the auto clean off. I got a 5 micron bag in there. What's wicked nice about the CT48, it comes with the 32 to 36 millimeter and hooks right up here. So the percentage of dust extraction on this is 92%. And we did this by what? Reducing the width of the blade guard, making a really stout, here, I'll take it off. You could take this off. A really stout dust chute that you could snap on and off. When I'm cutting high material, here's a tip. All the time I use this. Okay, I'm cutting a 2x4 standing straight up. This flips up out of the way. A lot of people I know take it off. You don't have to. Okay, so there you go. It's got 92% dust extraction. That's really matters nowadays, especially in my neck of the woods up in the Northeast. It's starting to get wicked cold out there. You guys want to work inside, but sometimes you can't work inside. You got to work in the garage or outside to do your chops. Okay. Well, guess what? You can bring this right inside and get the lion's share of that dust when you're going room to room. Okay. Next. The other thing is, if you notice, look, come in here, Chris, if you can, right here. See these rails? This is a 10.25-inch blade, 260 millimeter. Okay, where you all want to know what's my crosscut capacity. It's still 12 inches. Okay, but the one thing you're going to notice is as I push this back, there are no rails out back here. So you can take this and put it right up against the wall. You still got your bevels, but here's the kicker. Look, you get 60 to the right and 50 to the left, and that will swivel up against the wall. So it's a space saver. So think about this. You're setting up on the second floor to do a bunch of rooms and some trim, okay? You can set it up in the hallway because it takes up, this is the only space it takes up. It's only 50 pounds, okay? So if you put this up against the wall, right, guess what? You can get back and forth and go multiple rooms. You have one setup. Hopefully you follow me on there. The next thing I want to point out is, like, in my shop in Fort Lauderdale, we had a saw that had rails back here. It took up a lot of extra space because we had 10-foot cut station this way and a 10-foot cut station this way, and we had to really build it out. It took up a boatload of shop space. Not this unit. This you could put right up against the wall and save tons. And you could do the calculation yourself how much you're paying for or renting your shop space per square foot. But the other thing I've seen a lot being out on the road and going to job sites is there's a lot of guys who set up their chop saws, right? Oh, slide compound miter saws. I still call it a chop saw. They set them up in a trailer or a box truck, and guess what? Little space. You got a cut station right in there. You still got plenty of room for materials or your whatever you're transporting in your trucks and trailers. So there you go. It's called a rail forward design. You still get a 12-inch crosscut capacity at 90. Got it? Okay. Now the other thing I want to point out is, this is for me. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit of personal note. Hope you don't mind. Okay, this is my favorite feature. Okay, check this out. This is the bevel lock and unlock feature. Look, it's a simple lever. Okay, but this is, so I need to set this. Let's just think about this. I need to set my bevel to 30 degrees. Check this out. Look, I could take this, and I used to look at a pointer down here. I don't have to. Chris, swivel over nice and easy this way. Okay, tell me if you got this. I'm going to set it at 30, but look, and then come back out here, Chris. Look at this. See this little green arrow? This knob I can turn, and look, dial it. It's got a micro adjust. Isn't that sweet? Okay, and look, I can lock it right in. It's absolutely perfect, and it holds that bevel angle. Okay, so you can dial it in absolutely precisely. Okay, so you're going to notice, and those are the top, in my eyes, top three things. But I want to show you this. You see how, look at this. See this? I got a positive stop at 0, and I got one at 45. Now, to remove the fences so I can get my 45s, check this out. It's a little green, and Chris, make sure I get this. It's a little green tab that I flip up, and it comes right off. I'm going to take this fence off as well. Look, I'm going to come back here, swivel it off. Okay, so you can really get a good look at this. Okay, now, and Chris, come up here so you can see this. I label this knob L and R. Okay, see it right there? Okay, because look, see where it says 0 to 45? Hopefully I'm not too confusing. If I'm going to the left, there's my 45, and it comes back and gets 0. If I need to go to the right, I can turn it, okay? And what happens is that pulls a little brass pin up, okay? And what that does is now I can go to the right unimpeded. Yes, I lose that positive D10 at 0, but it's just a simple flip of that knob back, okay? Now, if I take it and go 47, now I got plus and minus 47, which is really neat if you got to do some back cutting or back beveling, all right? Because you just want that long point to meet. So there you go. See that? Now, where I've seen the confusion before is if I just don't touch that knob and I go like this, and I'm going to just step out of frame really quick and grab this part that I pulled off of one of my saws, okay? If you look at this, okay, remember that brass pin I told you? It's sitting here and hitting here when I bring it up, okay? This is my bevel scale, okay? But think about this. If I take that and go like this and don't turn that knob, what you're going to hear is a scraping sound, okay? And over time, that'll wear out super duper quick, okay? So what I'll tell you is learn to just take that knob and turn it to pull the pin out of the way. I hope that one helped. Okay, so there I am. I'm going to set it back. Hopefully that explains it. Oh, and one more thing I want to point out. Hopefully the camera caught this and you noticed this. Look at the size of the scale here. Okay, it's huge. Okay, what's nice about it, it isn't a teeny tiny scale down here like I've seen on my other saws I've owned over the years. Okay, so I'm just going to get that out of the way. So if I need to dial this in, look, to 22 and a half, I could take this, look, take it 21.2.5. And I can just look how easy this is. There's spring-loaded pins back there that are holding it so that head doesn't flop around. It's so precise, it's ridiculous. Okay, so there you go. That's the micro adjustment bevel. I mentioned you got 60 to the right, 50 to the left. Okay, and this is sometimes I've seen people struggle with this, and you don't have to. When I'm moving this, or I need to, there's positive detents at all the popular miter positions, but to move it, look, I take it like this, and I press it like this, and I need to swing it out. Look, I'm going to read this cursor, say I got to do a 20 degree. I bring it right in like this, and the lockdown, look, I lock it down. It doesn't move. Even if I lock it off to ½ degree, it doesn't move. It's a really stout system for getting your miters. All right. Whew. Let's start talking about some of the finer points that I've seen over the years that people have asked. I'm going to put the fences back on. Excuse me. Okay. Pretty simple. Okay. There you go. I got the bevel. I got the miter. Okay. Now, what I want to talk about is something that I have seen people not use in the past, and you should always use, okay? The reason I have seen people not use them on job site is because these are difficult. This is a hold down. This holds your material down to the deck so it doesn't move on you, okay? Especially when you're cutting angles. But the problem is moving it from side to side, and people get all kinds of frustrated. You don't have to with our system. If you notice, see this little part down here? Part of it is knocked off here, and that's where it locks in, because look, that's the forward position. If I turn it like this, it's easy to take out. So Chris, I'm going to have you come right over here, and I want you to see this hole right here. This is where it fits. Did you get it? Right there? Yep. Look how it goes right in there, and I'm going to swivel it, and look how easy it is to lock down. Okay? Look, I just have to press it here and lock it down. But I've gotten in the habit, if you notice right here, there's little flat spots on this pod here. I like to take it and look, I want my pressure as close to the fence as I can get it, and that's what that's for, okay? So if I take it like this, I always go like this to knock some of the movement out of there and lock it down, and over time that works really good, because sometimes these get a little knurling. I just take a little piece of sandpaper and knock the knurling off. I use granite only. It's the best, okay? So if I need to switch it to this side, look how quick this is. Whoop, 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 whoop. Right on the other side, okay? And I can go from side to side wicked quick. That is probably the best hold down I've ever seen in the industry. Okay, so there you go. So enough. Chris, I'm going to have you come over here. I want to make a cut so you see this. Okay, I'm going to lock it down. I'm going to turn on this. Can you catch that? That's the laser beam. Everything in between the lines is going to go away. But I want you to see a couple of things as I do this. I'm going to lock it down, some of the things I've talked about. I want to make sure I'm at 0. I want to make sure I'm at 0 here. I want you to see these laser lines, okay? Good. Now I'm going to make a cut, and Chris, can you focus in here? Yes, there's going to be a little chafe here. That's the 8%. But look at this. And check that cut out, everybody. Look at that. I wish we had feel-o-vision here, because look, this is so smooth, so clean. And that's the blade that comes with it. That's the 60-tooth blade. And I'm going to tell you really quick, I keep cleaning my blades. I very rarely go and source out another blade here at Festool, because the blade, that carbide, if you just keep cleaning it, stays wicked sharp for a long time. So I'm going to get rid of that piece. So I was looking at the laser, and he had one laser. And I went, oh, you got a screwdriver, a posi drive? And he goes, what do you mean? And I go, you need a posi drive screw tip. And if we look right here, you see this screw right here? Okay. Okay, so what that does is, I'll show you. This is a protective lens for the laser beams. I've also seen, or somebody has come up to me and said, man, that's a really crisp laser. Mine at home is a 2007 KAPEX, and it is that crisp. It's because I, once a month, once every other month, I clean the laser lens. So it only is like about 3 turns to take out the screw. I don't take it completely out, and now the lens or the protective cover comes off. So what you do is you take this gets all gooped up. You take, especially if you're cutting really hot resinous wood, pitchy woods like pine, or we have southern yellow pine. We cut a lot here. All kinds of woods like that. Look, you clean it up like that and you put it right back in. So this dude up in up in Vermont was a little upset because I said, before I cleaned his lens, I said, I'm going to take a picture. And I show this every training class, and I think I just showed it to somebody the other day. Look at that. That's how much pitch he had on his lens. And when I was finished, it looked brand new. And it didn't need any calibration. So what I want you to do is when you're finished here and you got to go at KAPEX, go unplug your KAPEX first. I always tell people that. And guess what? Go clean your protective lens. All right? Now, I've had friends, I won't call out his name here, but he said, my guys cleaned the lens. They were scraping it with a chisel. He didn't know he could take it out. I'm not going to say, hopefully you're not watching. He's a good buddy of mine in Boston. Okay, clean your laser lens. Okay, that's a great tip that I love teaching everybody who comes in here. Okay, what else am I going to teach you today? I think I covered a lot so far. Oh, the extensions. We have that special going on. The extensions. Everybody knows Festool's a system, but I want to show you this so you understand. The KAPEX is on the stand here. These 2 pieces are the extension, okay? And like anything, everything's the same height, okay? So when I put the KAPEX on the stand with the extensions, check it out. It's the same height as the MFT. It's the same height as the CMS. That's our compact modular system, our router table. I could take these off and put them on my my router table on the CMS, and it makes a great in-feed, out-feed table. But check this out. Everybody knows this is a hot item in the Festool system. It's the same height as your STM 1800. So I'm going to tell you right now, the way we build everything is called Shop 101. I've always taught people. Wait a minute. In your shop at home, what's the center? Is that saw stop saw, right? It's your table saw. Okay, hey, that was a cool call out, huh? All right, okay. Okay, but think about it, everybody. You build all your cheetah tables to the height of so you can repurpose them around your shop. We do the same thing. So think about it. Look, one of my favorite system components in the Festool system are the clamps. These clamps go everywhere. Yeah, they go in the table here. They go in the table here, right? Look, I'm storing a stop right there. That's a system component. Look, they go here, but they also, look, work on the KAPEX. All right? I use them all the time right here to lock things down. All right? I use them where? In the track. It works in the track. So once you understand Festool, you'll understand, wow, everything's integrated. Yes, we call it the Festool system. Okay, that's all I have to say about system. All right. What I want to do right now is I want to cover really quick these stands. Okay? Because you're going to laugh at me. Well, you probably already are. Okay? But this is the guys in repair are always asking me to do videos for this. I've done it half a dozen times. It's how to read the scale here. Now, when you're looking to get the stand and extensions together, or just the extensions, you got to look at this. You see this? This is the imperial. You got to decide if you want imperial or metric, because they're in both, okay? I just happen to have the imperial here. Okay, look, see? If I set this at 1 foot, I set it right to here. Okay, and hopefully we get that, Chris. Okay, and that's where you set it. But now I've heard this, and this is the funny part. And it's not really funny because people just don't know. Hey, can I get extensions for this? I need to cut something longer. There's a knob right here. Chris, point this out. I love showing this to people. See that knob? It's always been there. Check this out. You have an extension built into your extensions. But here's the funny part about it. Look, here's my stop. See how it flips up? To read this scale, say I got to cut 71 inches. Come in here, Chris. Look, I put it right here to the edge, and that's dead on 71 inches. Because as it goes up against the stop, that's how it is. So if I need to cut, look, I'm going to bring it back out. If I need to cut 73 inches, there it is right there. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense, and there you go, guys. All right. Next. Woo! This stores right in back, nice and stout. There's a little notch here that flips up underneath. This was what we call, I always get a kick out of this. We had a contest. What are we going to call this? It's an angle transfer device. I think at one time we called this the miter fast here in North America. It's an angle divider. They've been around since the beginning of time. Okay, so hear me out on this, Chris. We're going to go over here. We just did a Festool Live a couple weeks in here, and I'm going to try to get I'm going to turn on my sys light right here so we can get a better view of this, okay? Because I know we're in a little cubby hole. Okay, so I've seen people go like this, okay? Look, you take it like this, you open it up, and you put it in here. I would never do that to transfer the angle because I usually cope this, okay? I cope going in. But where this really shines is hopefully we get this on camera. Look, in here, Chris, if you don't, let me know. Move that out. These legs extend. See that? So I am going to miter this outside corner. Now, here's my question to you, why we have this, or why you should always measure this and not assume this is 80. Have you ever been on the job site and seen a drywall contractor out there putting on corner bead with a square? No. They slap it on, put mud, and they're out of there, okay? So you have to grab that outside angle. Look how I put the legs in there like this. See this? Lock it in. That would be funny if you saw a drywall guy. Hey, drywall guys, I love you, okay? And look, you take it over to the KAPEX. You see this line right here? Then you utilize the laser. Now, I left the laser on. If you leave it, oh, look how out of whack that was. Guess who did that? Corner bead. That would be moi. But you can adjust it so you can make your cut perfect like that. Okay? And it's divided perfectly. You have the complementary angle that happens to be the same one on the other side, and you make the cut there. And those pieces go together absolutely perfect. Okay? So that's called the miter fast. It stores in back. And there we go. Woo! Travis, how you doing with those questions, brother?
He's killing it.
He's killing it, baby. That's what I want to hear. You're the rock star, Trappist. Okay. Oh, my God. Can you show the dust collection sleeve on the bottom of the saw? Yeah, I thought I did in the beginning, but I'll show you again. Okay, so we got it right here. Look. Here's a dust collection sleeve. Okay. Okay, it's made out of really stout rubber. Okay, you could take it off like this. Okay, but what's really cool about it is, say I got to cut something tall and this gets in the way, look, you can flip it up out of the way. Okay, so there's your dust collection cover. Cool. How do I cut repeatable short pieces? Somebody's using bridging the board off the extension tabletop. Okay, so the way I like to tell people about this or word it is I'm always going to use a hold down because it's a recipe for disaster, especially with small pieces. So what I got to do really quick is I got to grab a piece to cut really small pieces. Okay, beautiful. Okay, so I got to cut a series of small pieces. Okay, and look, I want you to see this on the KAPEX. You see these lines right here and right here? And there's a symbol that says don't put your hand here. Guess what? Don't put your hand from here to here inside. But what if, let me see if I can just scribe this out really quick, guys. I'm going to grab a measuring tool. Give me 1 second. Woo! Right when you think you're really prepared, you're not. So guess what? So say I got to cut a bunch of pieces like this, and look how the hold down doesn't reach in there. Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this so we can all see this. I'm going to square up. Yeah, I'm just going to square up an end. Look, I'm going to lock it down, square it up. Okay, so what if I got to cut a bunch of pieces? Now you can come back over here, Chris, because and you can shoot right in here like this. Say I got to cut a bunch of pieces that are, let's just do a quick measurement right here, that are, let's just say, you know what, let's go 4 inches. I got a bunch of 4-inch pieces. See how that won't reach? So let me just mark that really quick. Okay, like that. Beautiful. Okay, so how do I grab that? I am not going to do this, everybody. That is a recipe. It's not when, it's not if it's going to nip you in the bud, it's when it's going to nip you. So don't do that. What I've always done is I made one of these. Okay, and you're going to look at this and go, what the hell? This was scrap pieces from a doors and drawers class. I just threw a couple screws in them. But what I did is on top, see, this is the same thickness. Okay, see how that grabs that? The reason it grabs is because I put some sticky back sandpaper on there and as well. But you can also use this as a repeatable stop. So watch, I'm going to take my laser. I'm going to bring it right down there. You know, everything between the lasers going away. So I'm going to take it like this. I'm going to bring this up like this, look. And I'm going to bring it in. That's why I do 2 offsets, just like this. See this? That's now my stop. I'm going to bring this down. And I'm just going to come over here. Look, that's going to be my hold down. Okay? So now I can make my cuts. Now watch. Always let it stop. And now you have repeatability, just like this. So what I'll do, because now I want to release the pressure, I want to make sure I have the accuracy here. Check this out. I bring this in, and now I have repeatability. Okay, I don't care what the measurement is. I got the measurement here. Now I can take this, watch, release it, put pressure in, and I got the repeatability factor. See that? And there you go. So I hope that one helped. I hope that answered the questions. Okay, I already did show how to use the angle dividers. Okay, let's see. Wow, this is great. I've never seen so many daggone questions on the Festool Live. How about you, Big D? It's pretty awesome, huh?
We have a lot of good questions today.
Okay, where do you, on the fine, oh, where do you line up the, I'll do that one. So, if you weren't watching, I'll break out the angle divider. It all depends, where do I line up the laser on the angle divider? Well, it depends on if it's this cut or this cut. So I line up the laser to where I know my waist is going to be. Hear me out on this. You'll see this. Okay, so I'm going to take this like this. You know what? I'll do it so you don't have to move, Chris. I'm going to take it like this. You know what? I'm just going to set this up at 45. Something I know is perfectly 45. So you guys can see this. Boom. Okay, I know that's 45 because that's an MDF top for the MFT. I'm going to bring it in, bring it to 45. Okay, so there you go. So what if my board is going like this? Okay, where's my waist? It's this side. So if we come in here, Chris, this is going to be my waist this way. Okay, what if my board's coming this way to meet this board? Where's my waist? It's on this side, so I bring it over here and bring it over here. Okay, I line it up where my waist is going to be. That's as simple as it gets. Okay, to the either side. I always have calibrated my lasers to be on the inside of the line. Okay, let me go over here. Minnie's writing a mile a minute. Okay, so, wow, what is the advantage of the new extensions? On the saw, or, okay, I'll cover both. Let's just go over this. The extensions on the saw, okay, if you don't, oh boy, let me see. Let me really confuse you. Okay, these are the extensions, okay? But you have extensions on the saw. I'm going to release this, okay? There's a big knob underneath, and I'm going to pull the locking point. Now, to cover the first one about the extensions on the saw, okay? There's an extension on the saw that comes right out, and if you don't have the extensions, it gives you a little more stability, okay? That's what that knob's for. But Chris, I want you to come in here and get this right here. This is the big advantage of this saw for the added extensions. You see this right here? The clamp that I'm going to show you, the knob, locks underneath here. Now, Chris, stay right here and pan over here. The previous KAPEX had an extrusion like this, exactly like the MFT. And where we saw a little bit of a confusion is the clamp would lock right here. That's what everybody thought. But where it always locked is underneath on the peak of the V. Now there's no more confusion. So when I take this, and let me show you this, the extensions here, look at this, Chris. Let's get this. The extension bracket is really wide now. It used to be smaller. Okay, so now you have a great registration when I take it here, put it on here like this. And always remember this, everybody. Okay, you never put this fence in line with this one. Okay, you always bump it back a little. And that's because if you may buy some chair rail or some other types of molding. You know the long lengths always have a crown in them. Okay, and if these are perfectly aligned out here, it's going to create a spring into the saw, and you'll never get a good cut, especially when you cut an angle. Oh my God. Okay, oh, another great question that I forgot to cover. All right, now somebody asked, do the extensions need to be leveled each time you set up a saw? This is always level, okay? And the reason, you'll see, look, it's perfectly level. Look, boom, perfectly level. But I stay away from that word level, okay? I don't know any floors or any job sites that are the same. So when I say putting the saw deck here in the same plane as the extensions, that's the best way to show somebody. I take myself out of the equation. I get a good straight edge. This is the fence off the MFT. I take it like this. I lock it right here to the deck. Now, come over here, Chris. Okay. See this knob right here? You see how these are splayed out? Okay. So I'm going to answer this question. Yes, I always at least check to see if they're in the same plane. I lock my straight edge over here. I want this here the same plane as that deck. So see how that's off right here? Check this out. I just twist it, and it brings it in absolutely perfect. So thank you very much for asking that question. Hopefully that clarified it. And yes, I always check it. Okay, so the angle divider is stored right out back. Kind of hard to get to, but it's really easy once you understand it. See this little notch right here? Okay. I always match up. One side's round and one side's square. So I take it like this. I put it in and tilt it. That little tab holds it in there, even when I'm moving it around. Okay. Whoo! Can you go through the... Okay. Is there... Yes, there's an electric brake. Who's asking these questions? It's all the stuff I'm forgetting about. Okay, so it's not an electric brake. It's actually a magnetic brake. There's two tools in the Festool lineup that have the magnetic brake. Over in Europe, and people who are watching over around the world are going, what's he talking about? Because we have 110 60 hertz cycle here in the US, we can't have electric brakes. But all the rest of the 220s around the world, I believe, have the electric brake. We have magnetic brakes. Okay, so yes, the KAPEX has it. It stops in about 3 seconds. And the other tool that has this is the OF 2200. It's a bigger, they're both bigger motors. Now watch, you'll see it right here. It'll start. This is full speed. And then when I let go, about 3 seconds to stop. The really good thing about that magnetic brake, it won't wear out. So there you go. That's why we did that. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's look at a few things about this. And when I talk about weight, okay, I'm just going to make sure it's all locked in. This is how, right here, Chris, if you can get up here, this is how you lock the slide. Okay, I'm going to lock the slide. Okay, this is how I'm going to push the head down. I'll bring it over here, Chris, so you can see it. This is how you release the head. It's a green tab right here. Right, it's pretty easy. I'll go over that a little bit later. But what I want to do is I want to bring it into transportation mode, because you're going to notice I'm not going to grab it by this handle. Look, it has a built-in handle. And the nice thing, and somebody mentioned this to me 2 weeks ago, it's easier to carry because you can carry it close to the body with this handle. It's really nice. I can't believe how light it is. Hey, does anybody in this room know how much the KAPEX weighs? Say it, Minnie. You said 40 and you said 47 pounds. On the cat or the stand, the UG stand, it's 69 pounds. So it's still very light in weight. Okay. Let's turn this so you can see it. Remember, it's a system. I get it on the Work Center, the WC1000. I'm sorry. See, Chris? You polluted me earlier. It's the MW1000, okay? I want to turn it up like this so you can see this. You see these pods right here, 1, 2, 3, and 4? Those, of course, are 20 millimeters, and those fit in here. So one of the things I always like to listen to what people ask questions about this saw. And I'm going to do a few things this morning or this afternoon that maybe you might get confused when you get this saw. So bear with me. Okay, so these are the pods. I could take it just like this, set it right in, and it drops in those holes. Let me get it in there, see? And it just dropped in the holes, right? You have these little tables that come out to give you more support. Oh, on the MW1000, I threw the extension table. One comes with it, but I threw another one on there. I got a nice saw station right there. Or you could build it out, and I'll go over the saw station. The UG stand, it has a special bracket or adapter plate and different extensions than the ones on the KS120. Over here, I have another one of these. But I see this all the time online, whether it's social media, YouTube, wherever, that, oh, the height of the KAPEX is the same height as a Sustainer 1. Okay, well, it changed. The Sustainer 1, or the new generation M1112, is the same as the Sustainer, whether Classic or T-Lock. They're all the same height. That's the only ones that are the same, but it's not the same height. Okay, aha, but check this out, and I'm going to take my time setting this up because I want to show you how easy it is. I'm going to make sure I show you how easy it is, but I'm going to turn it up, and what the saw comes with are, oh, you know what? I just thought of something. It's a system. I'm going to try something. Hang on. I'm going to take this, bring it back down here like this, and while it's in there, right, yes, you have this little piece here. Okay, see how it screws up and down? So when you have it, I'm going to release it right here. This is how I release and it actually will balance. So if I have it on a different surface other than that, that's a little balancer. It's really nice. And if I have it out wider, it'll balance so it doesn't tip forward. But I want you to see that hole in the alignment on this. So I'm going to take a traditional clamp like this. I'm going to spin it. Oh, look at that. Look how that locks.
the KAPEX right down to the table while it's in the pods. And let me check this out. Oh, look, I still have movement. I can actually put another one here and lock it in, and I don't lose any stops on my miter. And speaking of the miter, it goes 60 to the left and 60 to the right. A lot of people are impressed with that, and that's on the miter. Also, this is how you lock the miter down right here. But also check this out, Chris, make sure you get this icon. See this? I will be using this feature in a few minutes, but if I take it and move it, see how I have positive stops at all your top settings or major settings? If I take this, move it up, and move it over, I lose all my stops. And that's really important when you're using the angle transfer device, okay, and line up. So while we were down here, I thought I'd cover it. Now back to where I was, I'm gonna release this, get this clamp out of the way. Oops, see, I always forget which way to turn these puppies. Get it out of there. Bring it over. Bam, get it out of there. Come on, there you go. So there's the clamp. Now, let's get back to where I started. I'm gonna take it like this, and I'm gonna pick it up so you can see the bottom, just like this. And I'm gonna reach in here, and I'm gonna grab 5 pieces. These little pods right here, okay? Bam. What these do is they elevate the KSC 60 so it does line up if I'm working on the floor or on another work table, that I can use a Sustainer 1 or an M1112 to line up. So I'm just gonna take these. Chris, I'm just gonna walk in front of you to get my, because I'm lazy today, I'm gonna grab my CXS. See the little point right there? It goes right in here like this. And you take the screws. These are supplied with it. Okay, so I'm just gonna get them set up like this. So don't forget to tell Minnie where you're from. Did anybody hear, did you guys hear that? Minnie says they haven't. Good. A lot of people today, men?
There are.
Okay, let me get that in there like this. Wow, there we go. It's a long screw there, so just take your time. But there's another piece, because I saw somebody at the event asking this question, why do you have this? And I'll show you why we have this. So just take that like that. And one more. I was gonna have this all set up, but you know what I decided? I said, nah, let's just go through this and not rush through this, because I know you guys want to see as much as possible. Okay, and I'm just gonna get it like that. Now, I always set the clutch on this because I don't want to strip out the heads. So I usually set the clutch at about 6. And you'll hear it. Perfect. It's about right where I want it. Bam. Let's go over here. Ooh, I'm gonna use this left-handed. There we go, and here we go. Okay, so this is a question I don't think is as obvious. I mentioned it already, but I don't think it's as obvious. So you'll notice, I'm gonna tilt it back, that those pods line up with the pods. And yes, they go in if you're using an MFT table. But it won't be the same height as a Sustainer 1. So what I'll do is I'll set it on the table itself, and you'll see now that it's the height of the Sustainer 1. I'm gonna unlock it here again, and I'm gonna bring it across. And you'll see, perfect, Sustainer 1. It's not in the holes, and it lines up. So there you go, that's what those pods are for. There's one more thing, that this is what the person was asking, why do I have this long one? And you'll see that this doesn't reach down. So what I'll do is I'll just take that, and I'll tilt it back up like this. And I'll just remove this right here. So just take your time in doing this. And that's how you set up the KAPEX to line up with a Sustainer 1. Awesome. Right where I want it to be. Okay, now when you're lining this up, I get as far as I can, and then when I set it up, I go like this. Woohoo! I had this set up on a traditional MFT the other day, and I'll just take it, oh look, I had it pretty good, and I'll just align it with that surface right there. So there you go. And then you can take another sustainer and put it here, and you've got plenty of work surface, and you don't have to go and get the extensions. But for me, I think one of the biggest things with my KS120 is the extensions and the portability of the stand as well. So we have done that with the KSC60. All right, whew. Next, I got so much prepared, it's ridiculous. So let's make a couple of cuts, and I'll talk about the stand afterwards. Let's do this. Let's get a small piece of wood here. Hey, Mo! Traditionally, with the KAPEX, we had the tall fences. These are not needed on here. They're really easy to come off. They just come off real easy. All right, and that's important when I'm beveling the saw. So one of the things that I saw on the KAPEX, the KS120, was this latch up top here. Okay, ease of use. So when I first saw the new bevel angles, I was like, oh, we went to a hand crank or a star crank and back. And the more I use this, I go, this is like the easiest one on any slag compound I've ever used. So I'm gonna loosen it here, and I can talk about this. There's a button here, so you have a positive stop at 0. All right, if I wanna go to what? The right. Okay, I push it in. And Chris, can you come over here? To the right, okay, I hit 45, but if I press it again, I'm gonna get out of here, Chris, and you'll see it goes to 46. When I bring it back, you'll hear it pop. There's the 0, it's back in, and then when I go and hit it here, to the left, it goes to 47. So it's 46 to the right, 47 to the left. I always gotta remember that. All those specs are in there, okay? And I always gotta make sure that I don't have batteries on when I'm doing this, okay? Because that's really important. Now I'm gonna put it back up, and really nice is that crank in the back. It's really smooth, it's quick. I don't have to reach all the way back. It's right in close proximity. It has the crosscut capacity, okay, is 305, so that translates to 20 1/4. Okay, crosscut capacity when I'm at 0 and 0, right? If I take this and go to 45, my crosscut capacity is 8 1/2. Hang on a second, let me check. Yeah, 12 1/4, 8 1/2. Thank you. No, not 12 1/4, 12 1/64, which is 305. I just tell everybody it's 12-inch crosscut capacity. Okay, and it's 8 1/2 at 45. So there you go. I can't remember everything. Sorry. All right. When I bring it back, oh, I already have my detents. I want to get the detent at 0. It's pretty simple. I just like it as a small compact form. All right. So remember, that's how you release the head. Okay. And that's how you lock it in. Okay. And there. Okay. I'm ready to cut now. I'm going to put these on because I'm going to cut this walnut. And I want to show you that when I first saw this, I was like, and the more I use it, the more I like it. Okay. With the KAPEX, the KS120, we've had it over in the States now for quite a few years. We have a laser on there, and it's a dual laser. It's adjustable. But this is a shadow line, and I'm going to point this out. Let me just grab this next. Oh, here you go. Hey, Mo. It comes with a screw clamp. As scope of delivery of the KSC60, and everybody's going, why a screw clamp? Well, if you notice this notch here, okay, and I can lock boards down here, okay, but there's a notch back here. Chris, I don't know if you can get this, but there's one that slides in the back. So whenever I cross-cut, I always use a hold down. So I'm going to put it in here from the back, and you're going to see that's my hold down. What you're going to ask, okay, and I did right away, can you use the ratchet clamp? Absolutely. It goes in here from the back. It works great. But there's a little bit of a situation with the ratcheting clamp. That's why we include the screw clamp. Let me show you that. Okay, is when I'm like working with like 3/4. Okay, which I'll be doing in a few minutes. When I put the ratcheting in, see how it doesn't go all the way down? So what I do is I have a series of little boards here if I want to use the ratcheting clamp, and I just do a quick build up like this, and I can use that, and it's nice and steady. All right, so whether I clamp it from the front or the back, but you have that ability to do so. I just wanted to point that out to you because I like the ratcheting clamps. Let's get to what I was mentioning. Let's go to this button over here. Remember, everything's green. And you know what I need now? Whoop. Power. Okay, how am I going to show this? Chris, can you walk over here? Oh, over here with me, please? Because I want you to see this. There's a little icon on the back. This unit, not the unit holding the camera, it can work with 2 batteries or 1 battery. Okay, it does look good? Okay. Now, that battery has to be, when I look at this, the battery has to be on the bottom, not the top to work. That's what that icon shows. So let's step back over here, and I'll put both batteries on, and I can explain the RPM, and you can hear it. Okay. When I have it, let me get my clamp. When I have it like that, it is, I was going to check. I'm not going to look at there. When I have 2 batteries, that's 36 volt. It will be, you'll have a variable speed of 1300 to 3500 RPM. But when you have just 1 battery, which has to be on the bottom, you will have a variable speed range of 1300 to 1800 RPM. I would equate that to just about half. Okay, so let's put this on so I could show you this feature right here. Chris, come on in here. You have this. You hit the button, there's a light. Okay, now that is not a laser line, but it is wicked cool, what we call a shadow line. So I'll bring it down so you can see it. See the shadow line? Okay, that is the curve of the blade. What's nice about it is if you get pitch on there, right, guess what happens? It shines on the blade, so it's still going to remain that curve on there. All the curves of the blade are 2.3 millimeter. So that's not the variable, but what if you get pitch on there? It's going to be off a little. Hopefully you follow me on that. All right, now, when I do this, I'm just going to slide this over so you can see it. I know I'm jumping around a lot, but I'll go over the handle in a minute, but you'll see that just like that, and you'll see the curve. So I'm just going to go like this. Now, Chris, come over here just for a second, because this is something that I saw a concern of, and it really isn't. It's like when we first got the KAPEX, well, my first KAPEX was in 2006. That's when I was using it. No, my KAPEX is in 2006. I was using it in 2007. It was manufactured in 2006. I had to get used to the handle because the handle was different for me then. Now, this has something different. Now, if I need to lower the blade, okay, I press this part right here. This, okay, is a lockout switch. So to power, see how I have it down? To power it, I hit this button, and then I can pull this up. Follow? Now, if I'm a lefty, which I still like the handle in this orientation, not like this, because I'm too far away, I just have to remember to take that index finger, push it in like this. And you know what? It still works great. It's just, how do you say? It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Well, it's the same thing when you get something new and you have a different style handle. Just take your time with it. It'll work in, I promise. Okay, so let's make a cut. Now I'm gonna kind of maximize this because I was messing with this yesterday. I love this. When we first got the lasers on the KAPEX, I was digging it because I was cutting the end grain veneer. Okay, this is with 2 batteries. Look at that. One of the cleanest cuts you'll ever get. It's an 8.5-inch blade, and it's just rock solid crisp. This is how I was messing with it this morning. I said, you know what, let's have some fun with this. Let's create some cool veneer. Look at this. Look at this. And this is me just looking at the shadow line. And that's what I want to talk to you about, the shadow line. Look at this. I call this owl walnut. Wow. Okay, look.
That's so cool.
Isn't that cool? Look at the eyes, nose, and the mouth. Huh. Okay, now over here it gains, look, horns or ears. Isn't that cool?
That's awesome.
Okay, so I call it owl walnut. But that's just those are like 16th cuts. And that it was so repetitive because someone says, well, how'd you get that? How did you do that? It's called looking and trusting your eye. But also, what's nice about this is when you look at the shadow line, okay, look where it is. It's also on the front. So I could just take that and eyeball it and get it right in there. And I was cutting wicked thin this morning. Let's try this one. Look at that. Paper thin. Hey, Minnie,
Yes.
do you like to read paperback books?
I do.
Okay, here's a bookmark.
Would you sign it for me?
No way. Hey, you can make bookmarks all day long. Okay, so I'm going to do one battery, and I want you to hear it. Oh, that's weird. It is. Boy, is that? For me, guys, I will tell you, that's me being backwards. Okay, you can hear the speed, right? Okay. So this is the top. It doesn't work when one battery's, see, now that's the top when I bring it down like this. So just pay attention to that icon. I'm gonna cycle that on because I took the battery off so we get dust extraction. Always don't push the machine, let the machine do the work. But boy, once again, you're gonna get the capacities you need with that with a super accurate cut. And walnut is sometimes a little precarious to cut. That's a wacky grain in there. It's just keeping right up with it. Let me get another battery on there so we can continue. This is me learning as I go. The top battery, or the battery on the top here, is the Bluetooth that you have to cycle. Cool. All right, so there you go.
What about stops for repetitive designs?
Right here, Minnie? It's right here. It's the stops on here, Min. Okay. You have stops right here. I haven't even gone over the, okay, but you do have stops for that. And I wanted to cover that in a few minutes. Okay, we're doing good. We're doing good. I knew we would have a ton of questions. Just please bear with me. I'm flowing through this. I kind of have an end in mind, I should say, because I want to talk a little bit. And this is kind of a neat feature. Well, neat for me. This here is the angle finder, okay, or angle divider. And you line up your shadow line, or with the KAPEX 120 with the laser. Okay, I'm gonna do this because I wanna make sure everybody understands that the legs come out like this. I'm gonna take it over here to that, and you see this right here? This is where it's quite a bit different from the larger KAPEX. You don't line it up with the shadow line. You see these little arrows in here on this edge. You line it up with these lines right here, and that allows you to split the angle. Absolutely perfect. Now, here's what the problem is. Say I'm doing a 45, okay, and there's a detent there. I may be off of 45 ever so slightly, so that is why I take that out of the way, so it's easier to line up my lines like this. Okay? And there you go. I'll just bring my lines in, and it actually splits. Chris, can you come in here and get this so everybody sees it? I can bring my lines right over here and dial in my miter. Okay? Hopefully we all see that big D. Is that coming through? Okay, and my lines line up, and I could take it, I bisected the angle for the other one. I was trying to wrestle this out while this, I'm gonna take and put my detents back in. I was trying to wrestle this out right here, and it was kind of difficult to take this out or put it back. You tilt the saw, and it slides in and locks in really nice. Great feature. Okay, I covered the bevel. Oh, one more thing on the shadow line. You don't have to release a screw to clean the lens. It just pops right out. I usually blow off the dust, take a microfiber rag, clean it out. That way there, the shadow line stays crisp. And you'll hear it snap right back in. Okay, wow, still on the saw, not the stand. I'm gonna take the batteries off, just like that, and I'm gonna change the blade, because it's different. What I like to do, and I've always done this with the regular KAPEX, is, where am I on this? Okay, I'm going to take my bevel, and I'm going to release it, and I'm going to tilt it. It just helps me ever so slightly. I don't want the blade to drop right down when I want to start the process. I also do this. I take this and I lock the slide all the way out. Batteries have to come off, everybody. Right? Now in back, Chris, we can go over here and show everybody. In back, stored is a 6mm hex key. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is, there's an arrow right here. Let's lock that in. See the arrow? That's the direction, the spin. So I always use the arrow to release it. Okay, there's a little bit of a process here. I'm going to press this and lift this up. Over here, Chris, sorry, I'm working you today. There's an ABBA lock right here. See it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wrench, I'm going to put it in, and then I'm going to press the ABBA lock until it falls in place, and then I'm just going to spin the blade off. On the regular KAPEX, we have the fast fix. This one I'm going to take it off. We have an electric brake on here, electronic brake. It shuts off in 2 seconds. I'm going to lift this up again. Whoopsie. Come on, Sedge. You can do this. Now, I'd be willing to bet Garrett's watching right now. He saw me struggling with this until him and I found out that I can flip this back like this, get it out of the way. And I like to take the blade and pick it up like this and lift it out. Okay? See? And you can change the blade. Why do you change a blade, everybody? To clean it? Or, Chris, come over here, where my notes are. We offer different blades. The blade that comes with it is the 36 tooth blade. Okay? Boom, boom, boom. Where are you? Right here. 36 tooth blade. Is that 36? Yeah, let me look. Looks like a lot more. So this is the 60 tooth blade. It's yellow. See that? So that means it's for wood. We have a 36 that comes on the saw. Then we have this blade right here, which is, oh, sorry, that's the 36 tooth. Okay, yellow. We have 2 yellow blades, 2 wood blades. Then we have one for aluminum non-ferrous, and we have one for plastics and laminate. Okay, so that is why we have variable speed. You want to slow down. If you're cutting some Lexan or acrylic, slow the saw down so you lower the melting point of that and you get a really nice cut with the KAPEX. Okay? The thicker the material, okay, slow it down. That's the multiple material, part of the multiple material controls. So let's put this blade back on. I think this is going to be one of the longest ones we've done. And what I like to do is stand like this and tilt it so it slides in. That's got a slight taper to it. I'll bring that down, take it like that, and remember, it's a lefty-tighty and a righty-loosey. It's opposite. It's a reverse thread. Okay. So I know I'm going to be forgetting a lot, so it doesn't matter. We can do another one on this. Okay, and don't forget to store that back behind the saw. I'm just going to put it in there if I need it again. I'm going to release this and bring it back up to speed. There's 0, it automatically pops back in, and I release my slide. Okay, one more thing on the saw, because I set this up earlier today. I want to show you how to do this. In fact, I could actually, can I use this piece? Okay, so it has a notching feature on it to cut curves, all right, to cut dados on something. But if I put my piece, let's get a piece of plywood. If I have a piece like this, okay, and I put it up against the fence, I will leave what we call geometry of the blade in there. Follow me? Because it's a curved blade. You want to build this, or I've done this my whole life, I want to build it away with about a 50 millimeter piece. Okay, I'm going to take my saw and put it in the curve, and I'm going to lock my blade down, or my sacrificial fence down. Perfect. That way there, I cut all the way through to the back of the fence. And I'm going to set this up. I set it up earlier, okay, but here's the notching feature. I'm going to pull it forward, and it's got micro adjust on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quick cut. Got to put the batteries back in. What do I got to do when I put the batteries back in? Pair it. Right? That's right, Peyton. Okay, so let's make a quick cut. And we're going to look at it, and that's about right for bending. Okay, I'm the same distance from here to here. You don't want to cut too close. So now that fence. Now, in the old days, I used to, with a traditional slide, I used to go like this and then come down and go like this. But what's really nice is I can actually use that shadow line like this, and I can gauge my cuts so much better because it's on that front edge. I mean, once you do a curve cut like this, nobody really sees it. So when you do this, this is perfect for radius toe kicks, okay? And like I tell everybody, I do like to cut corners. Hey, Mo! Whoop, 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 whoop. So that's curve cutting on the job site with the KSC 60. It's a great, great added value to this. So you can see it's quite feature rich. Also, I'm going to show you this as I look back over there. When you're using the bracket, which I'm going to cover I'm going to go over the stand now. When I'm using the bracket is when you're, this little piece that comes with these pods is the extended one, the screw with the spring. It's the balancer, okay? The one that comes installed is when you don't have these on and it balances there. It's the shorter one. It's also the one for the bracket right here. Okay, and you got to adjust that. I'm just going to take this off so you can see it, and I'll go over the bracket. That's available separately. Not everybody needs the bracket, and you just adjust it and it fits in there, and that's what that groove's for. It's wicked cool. Okay, so let's cover this. It works with the same UG stand. Okay, but for it to go onto the UG stand, you have to get one of these. And one of these being the bracket. I'm going to get here so we can see this. Big D, do you have this on the description? Mm-hmm. It's the UGAD KAS 60. Chris, you're going to remember that, aren't you?
No way.
Okay, so this is what I want you to see. These are 4mm screws, okay? What's nice is you have an adjustment 4mm hex that stores right on the bracket with your KAPEX. Okay, underneath we have this knob, green knob, and that green knob is to store blades. I think I have a blade stored on this one. Yes, I do. Okay, so you can store extra blades underneath. Here, when we look from the top, these, which we removed, and placed them in these holes here to lock them to these green pods. These green pods are these knobs here. Okay, and Chris, hopefully we can get this. These are leveling feet inside the pod or the bracket. We also have these brackets here, and this is where the extensions mount. Okay, the extensions are different. Okay, and I'll show you why in a minute. So you have to get the extensions for the KSC 60 stand if you want the tape to match up. Okay, so it comes in metric only at this time. I'm going to hold on to this so I can show you, because I've seen people not struggle but not understand. I want to level this deck, this turret, to this. I don't want to slide, and I leveled this yesterday, I don't want to slide material and catch it on here. I've seen people try to level this to this. No, that's not what you want. In my eyes, this is my opinion, I want this level with this with no catch. So I'm going to get a good straight edge, which I have right over here. Okay, and you'll see it's right on. Okay, just make sure, like I had yesterday, I had a burr on there, I had to remove the burr. But you just don't go and start turning these, because what happens is you need to put a little bit of play in them, which I do right here to get the movement, just a little bit. And Chris, I'm going to exaggerate this so you all can see. But you'll see as I move this up and down, see how that moves up and down? So I could take that, let's look right here, and I can adjust this right to the deck. Sometimes you might want a little bit off when you're doing that, but some people want it perfectly even, so you can dial it right in. And then what I do to lock it in is then I tighten this. Hopefully that makes sense. I hold that knob and tighten it, so now it won't move. But you have to mount the KAPEX onto the bracket and then level it with your extensions. Okay, this is why the extensions are different. It took me a couple minutes to understand this. It's because of this little black piece. You don't have that on the regular KAPEX. It mounts right to the KAPEX, so you have this extra distance. Will the KAPEX extensions fit? Yes. But will they, will this scale be accurate? No. So this scale is accurate to the side of your blade. It's calibratable like we've shown before in videos. You can calibrate this scale. It's wicked easy. It's 4 screws underneath here. You have a repeatable stop here. That's what the question was earlier. I finally got to it, Minnie. Okay. I probably answered the question already, which is great. I know I'm forgetting a lot. I apologize. We could go on and on and on. Oh, here's something I thought was wicked cool. Come over here, Chris. A lot of people, oh my God, there's so much comments online, not just on our saws, but all saws and miter saw stations, where I used to see people all the time take a straight edge. And this came about in one of our end user classes once. They came up, and Chris, come on up here so we can catch this. They said, Sedge, why isn't this even with this? And I go, it never should be. And they go, what do you mean? And I said, well, have you ever cut a large piece of molding and it's warped? You have to push up against here to take that warp if this is completely, or that crown is completely in line. You always push it back a hair or two. That way there you compensate. You don't want to cut into a bow of a piece of molding. Hopefully that makes sense. But what we would always say is, how much should you push it back? Well, what I really like about these stands, okay, or this bracket is, see that? That's a registration point. So I'm automatically going to tell you when you put that on, I'm going to kick that leg out. You can push it right up against there, just like this. By the way, these stands have all the adjustability. I've gone over these in former or previous tool lives. But see, now I have my registration point, and the stop still works. Whew. I think I covered just about everything. I've probably forgotten some, and I apologize.